Well, I'm not late to this one. Um, yeah. Andrew Wiggins is no longer a Golden State Warrior. Jimmy Butler is now a Golden State Warrior. Initial thoughts on this one. I'm honestly lost. Like, Andrew Wiggins has been putting his trade value up over the last 2 months. He has been absolutely balling for us. Damn near 20 points per game over the month of February. And yeah, he's now Jimmy Butler. There was reports in the media a couple of days ago that Jimmy Butler had no intention of re-signing with Golden State if he were to be sent our way, and turns out he's been sent this way. So Jimmy Butler's going to have a Golden State jersey on, which is weird to say out loud. Jimmy Butler, we all know everything that happened with him over the last month or so with the Heat and their front office and the whole organisation that happened with that. They had absolutely no chance of Jimmy ever seeing the floor for them ever again. For what the face value of it is, Jimmy Butler, we all know when Jimmy Butler wants to turn it on how good of a basketball player Jimmy Butler is. He is, when it comes to playoff performances, one of my fondest memories is watching him hit that game winner against the Bucks a couple of years ago. Like, when he turns it on, he can be one of the best players in the league. So, in terms of that aspect of the game, this trade's going to be really interesting. Draymond and Steph get another aging guy, cemented all-star, close to Hall of Famer type level player. But yeah, Wiggins goes, which for us, personally, I would have preferred using the Kuminga piece over Wiggins. I don't know what the Heat wanted, but I would have preferred to use Kuminga in that trade because, as I said, Andrew Wiggins has been playing so well for us recently. Dennis Schroeder, a part of the trade as well. Dennis played for us for about 3 weeks. I really have nothing to say about that. To be honest, ever since we did that Dennis Schroeder trade and he came over to the Warriors, his production fell significantly. It's understandable in terms of when he was playing with the Nets, he was playing with one of the worst teams in the league. He could realistically just do whatever he liked. He could hold onto the ball for as long as he liked. So for when he came over to Golden State and, has served that tenure, you're playing with Steph Curry. You're playing with guys like him that need the ball, and you're not going to be the main priority when it comes to the ball handling duties. I thought Dennis was going to do a lot more second unit type of minutes. I thought for all the time that Steph was off the court, Dennis was going to be on, and it was going to sort of work that way. Doesn't happen like that nowadays. That's not how it worked out. And so Dennis immediately straight to a new team. You sort of got to feel bad for the man. He would have had to buy a property in Golden State because going from Brooklyn, it's literally across the country, goes all the way across the country, ends up in Golden State, plays 3 weeks of basketball, and then we say, oh, sorry, your services aren't needed. You're going back over to the other side of the country. So for that aspect of things, Dennis, you got a feel for him. But it is what it is. It's just how it works out sometimes. It's a really weird trade, and I'm going to have to see it in action before I really make too much of a drastic call on it. On the face value of it, it is what I've been asking for in terms of Steph and Draymond to buy into that timeline. I really honestly do not mind if we suck for the next 25 years after Steph and Draymond call it time. I just really want to see them maximised to the best of our abilities as a front office and whatever Mike Dunleavy's cooking up at the moment. It hasn't been the same since Bob Myers left our front office. I think everyone knows that. But for him to make a trade like this and actually show that he is interested in buying into the Steph Curry timeline is a really good thing for me, to be honest. I like to see that. Jimmy Butler, we just need to see what form of Jimmy Butler that we get, because that will be the biggest thing for this trade, is what form of Jimmy Butler do we get? Do we get the certified all-star, can close games in playoff series, can do this and that? Or do we get the front office issue Jimmy Butler? So only time will tell what happens with that and how it affects us as an organisation. I feel like Jimmy and Draymond also are going to have two very colliding personalities. So they might not be the best of teammates, if that makes sense. We know they're both very passionate about the game. They both only want to win, but they are very two aggressive human beings when they want to be. With Jimmy, when Jimmy doesn't get his way, we've seen it time and time in his career. He's, beat the Timberwolves starting lineup with a bunch of third strings. He's basically just sat out of Miami and basically enjoyed an extended vacation just because he felt like it. So there was a lot that went into the whole Heat situation, but he was never going to come back for the Heat. So for him to end up at Golden State is a weird one, not one that I really saw coming, especially after a couple of days ago with those reports of him not wanting to sign an extension. But we're at least buying into the Steph Curry timeline, and that is literally all that I want. We lose Dennis, as I said, we lose Andrew, and we lose Kyle Anderson. Kyle Anderson honestly gave us very decent spot minutes here and there. So to see Kyle go after such a short amount of time is a bit of a shame. His play style is one of the weirdest things I've ever seen in the history of basketball, but for some reason it worked, and he did give us good minutes in the time that he was given. But yeah, the time with the Warriors comes to an end, and I think it was also 2 second-round picks that we gave up, which honestly, for like a declining, argumentative Jimmy Butler, I think is a lot. Like, that's most of our draft capital now gone. So we'll see. We've turned quiet achiever Andrew Wiggins into loud and proud Jimmy Butler. We will only be able to tell what sort of Jimmy Butler we get after a few weeks of play, see how it works out, and yeah, we literally just got to go from there. In terms of the Heat side of things, I think the Heat get a great player in Andrew Wiggins, another wing that's going to help them improve. Him and Tyler Hero with one another is going to play phenomenally. So we will only be able to tell after a certain amount of time how it all works out. The Heat get a win. I think, honestly, depending on how Jimmy Butler works out, it's a win for both sides. For them to get that Jimmy Butler trade value, even after this holdout that he's had on him, is a great thing for the Heat. So yeah, that's basically all I have to say. I wanted to get this video out straight away. The news literally popped up on my timeline 10 minutes ago. So for once, as a content creator, I'm on time. So it's a good day. It's my own team, so I kind of had to cover it. Yeah, it's stat line of the day. I'll get to it. I know I'm not doing it every day like I was saying I should, but I'm getting to it. More videos are going to keep coming out. This trade deadline has honestly been one of the most wild trade deadlines we've had in a very long time. Superstars going here, there, and everywhere. So I'm sure I'll be back soon with more trade news. Thank you guys for tuning in, liking, subscribing, all the good stuff. If you guys can hit those buttons, that'd be greatly appreciated. Leave me a comment. Tell me how you feel about this trade. And yeah, I will see you guys in a couple of days with hopefully some more news. The Kyle Kuzma trade, that only just popped into my head. Kyle Kuzma to the Bucks, really strange. That we'll see how that works out. But yeah, the Chris Middleton era in Milwaukee is over, which is strange to think about. I'll get a full deadline video out when the deadline finishes, so that's when I'll touch more on trades like this. I'm just going to touch on the bigger trades for right now. They deserve to get their own videos. And all the smaller ones I will chuck into one big video once the deadline finishes. Thank you guys. I'll see you very soon. And yeah, bye-bye.